Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to a course on soft computing. So, our today's topic of video is Introduction to K-means algorithm. So, in the last video, we understand the process of clustering. There we understand that in the case of clustering, we are tried to partition a given data set into multiple subgroups, and that is again based on the similarity. This is what the main notion of a clustering. We also understand that how clustering is different from classification, because classification is a supervised learning technique, whereas clustering is a unsupervised learning technique. So in this case, we don't know in advance about the labels of the data, but we only partition that data elements or data points based on the similarity. So there are various algorithms are available for the process of clustering. So in this video we are going to discuss about our very famous clustering algorithm, that is a K-means algorithm. So let's discuss all this thing one by one. So we can say K-means is one of the simplest unsupervised learning algorithm that solve a well-known clustering problem. K-means algorithm is used to solve a clustering problem. Just take a simple example of customer segmentation. I want to segment the customer based on the similarity, and this customer segmentation will be mostly used by various e-commerce industry. So there we can use K-means algorithm. So K-means algorithm is mostly iterative in nature. Iterative means what? We need to perform a set of steps again and again over the given data set. Whatever the data set that is given to us, we need to apply the same set of steps again and again unless and until we map all the data elements to particular cluster and cluster based on the similarity. So this is iterative process. Then we can say that it follows a simple and easy to way classify given dataset through certain number of cluster. That means in case of K-means algorithm, we have been asked in advance how many clusters are there. Means we have been provided how many clusters are there. Suppose I can say I want to divide or partition this dataset into 5 clusters. So 5 will be the value of K. Now next thing is K-means algorithm. But I think before discussing this algorithm, I just show you the steps involved in K-means algorithm. But I think first of all we should understand the example first, then it will be easier for you to understand the algorithm. So let's try to understand example first. So consider a given data set. This is a data set given to us, and we have been asked to group each element of this data set into K number of cluster, and in this case the value of K is given. So always try to remember that whenever you have been given a set of a data point, and you always be given with the value of K, and according to that you have to divide or partition all the elements into that many number of cluster. So what is the step 1? Initially you have to take the mean value randomly. You have to take any initially we cannot calculate the mean, so initially you can take any value as a mean value. And how many values you will take? 2. Why? Because here the value of K is equals to 2. That's why randomly I have taken M1 equals to 4 and M2 equals to 12. And I told you that this is a random. This is not a case that why I have selected M1 equals to 4 and M2 equals to 12. M1 and M2 represents the mean value. And why it is 2? Because we need to form 2 clusters as it is given in the example itself. Then K1. So we are going to form the cluster K1. So how this element 2 is mapped to cluster K1, why it is not being mapped to cluster 2? So the reason is very simple. We need to calculate the difference between this mean value and the given data point. That means we are checking the similarity. If that element 2 is nearer to that 4, then it will be mapped to that cluster, otherwise it will be mapped to the second cluster. Means we need to calculate the distance between the cluster center and the given data element. Whatever will be the less distance, minimum distance to that cluster that particular element belongs. So let's try to calculate it. 4 minus 2 equals to 2 and 12 minus 2 equals to 10. So which is the lowest? So obviously 2 is the lowest, that's why the data point 2 is partitioned into cluster 1 but not to cluster 2. Then similarly for element 3, we have to check 4 minus 3 it's equals to 1, 12 minus 3 it is equals to 9. So which is the minimum? So minimum is 1, so that's why element 3 is mapped to cluster K1. The next element is 4, so 4 minus 4 that is equals to 0, so which is a minimum 1? So obviously 0 is a minimum, 12 minus 4 that is equals to 8, that's why 4 is mapped to cluster 1. Then we go for next data point. Next data point is a 10, again we'll do the same thing, 4 minus 10, 4 minus 10 that is equals to 6, and 12 minus 10 that is equals to 2. Now in this case which one is minimum? Obviously 2 is minimum, that's why 10 is belongs to 10. Now similarly for 11, 12, 20, 25, 30, you just calculate the difference between these two, and whatever will be the minimum distance to that cluster we will map. So in the step 1 we got these two cluster K1 and K2. In K1 3 elements are there and remaining elements are mapped to K2. Now the next step of the K-means algorithm. The next step is that again we have to take the mean of this cluster K1 and mean of this cluster K2. So mean means what? Average. So 4 plus 3 7, 7 plus 2 9, 9 divided by 3, so new mean is 3. So previous mean value is a 4 which we have taken it randomly. Now we have calculated the mean value by mean value and we got new mean as a 3. So M1 is a new cluster center for this cluster K1. Similarly we got the we will calculate the mean of this 10, 11, 12, 20, 25, 30 and we got the value as 18. So we can say that 3 and 18 these are the new cluster center as that of previous step. Now again we'll calculate the difference between these two. So 2 minus 3 we got 1, so it is a less, so it maps to cluster 1. Then 2 minus 18 obviously it is more. So same process which we have followed in the previous step, we'll follow same process in the second step also, and we try to map all the element into cluster 1 and cluster 2. Now here you can see in step 1 only 3 elements are there in cluster 1. Now in step 2 there are 4 elements. So because in this case we are trying to map 10, 10 minus 3 7, 10 minus 18 8. So which one is less? 7 is less, that's why 10 is mapped to cluster K1. So in this way there will be a change, that the number of members in the cluster 1 is going to be increased. Again we need to follow same step. Again we take the mean of this 4 value. Now we got the mean as a 4.75. So in this case we need to take a upper bound. 4.75 is nothing but 5. Similarly for cluster K2 again we try to find a new cluster center and its value is 19.6. So 19.6 upper bound is 20. So we can say 5 and 20 these are two new M1 equals to 5 and M2 equals to 20. These are two new cluster center as that of previous one, and they again we follow the same process. We try to calculate the difference between this 5 and 2, calculate the difference between 2 and 20, whichever will be the minimum we try to map that element into that particular cluster. Now in this case K1 equals to 2 because 5 minus 2 equals to 3, 20 minus 2 equals to 18. So obviously 3 is less, that's why 2 is mapped to cluster 1. Similarly we need to consider every element and we try to map each element to the this cluster K1 and K2. So finally after applying these steps we got this K1 cluster and K2 cluster. So here you can see more element, 12, 11 and 12 is also added to cluster K1 which is previously the part of cluster 2. Why is it so? Because now the center of cluster has been changed. We are calculating the difference between given data point and the center of that particular cluster. Okay, now the next step. Now again we take the mean of this mean of all this. So we got the mean as a 7. We'll calculate the mean for this. So its mean is 25. Now again the same process, we try to map each data element to cluster K1 and K2 based on their similarity, based on the difference. So we got this value K1 equals to this and K2 equals to this. Again we take the mean of this. Again it is mean is 7, again mean of this is 25. So what you observe? You observe that in this last two iteration the value of mean is same, that the centroid of a cluster is same. Okay, the centroid of a cluster is same in last two iteration, so we will stop over here. So just I have written the message over there, we will stop here as we are getting the same mean value in last two iteration, and we got the same element in the two different cluster. If you compare this k1 here, k1, both are same. That means we come to know that now clustering is done. Further we cannot partition the element into cluster. So this is our final result, k1 equals to this and k2 equals to this. So in this way what we have done, we have partitioned all the elements into two cluster as given in the example. Now while solving another example, you need to follow the same process. Only thing is that you have been given a different data element and the value of k is different. So according to that, maybe the value of 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So in this way you have to solve the k-means example. Now we try to understand algorithm, right? So in this algorithm we have been given a data point from x1 to xn and clusters center from c1 to cn. So what is the step 1? Step 1 is randomly select the cluster center. As we have seen in case of example, we have taken a two mean m1 and m2 and that value we have taken it randomly. So randomly you have to select the cluster center, because initially we don't know what is a cluster center. It is just like that you're finding the you have to try to find the largest number in the array, and initially you don't know. So in that case what you will do, you will randomly select first value as the largest value and then you are try to compare. The same thing we are doing over here. We don't know exactly what is a center, so we take random value. After that we'll just try to calculate the distance between each data point and the cluster center and verify that which distance is minimum. Okay, and we, based on the similarity, based on the difference, will try to map the data point to the cluster. Then again recalculate new cluster center. Once you initially you have taken random value as a mean value or center value, then you try to calculate the distance between given data point and center, then try to map this element. Once this process is over, again you calculate the new cluster center based on the new elements. So again you calculate the distance between new center and the data points given in the data set, and according to that you have to reassign it to the different cluster, and you need to follow the same step again and again unless and until all data points are mapped to different cluster and we got same iteration, we got the same value in the last two iteration. We need to continue this process. Okay, so you have written there, if no data point was reassigned then stop, otherwise go to step 3. So in this way this k-means algorithm works. So I hope it will be easier to you to understand this algorithm based on the example. Now the next thing we are going to discuss about what are the applications of k-means algorithm. So very first method or very first application is market segmentation. So in case of market segmentation you may use k-means, because while grouping the market you don't know what should be the criteria. Based on the similarity, maybe you will divide the market based on the size, based on the customer, based on the like dislike, based on the product, based on the season. You may divide your market, you may partition your market based on the similarity. So for the sake of market segmentation you may use the process of k-means algorithm. Next is document clustering. You have been provided with a set of document. Now you need to group that document, so you don't know in advance what will be the similarity. Maybe based on the type of document, whether it's a image or it's a word file or excel file, you may form a cluster, or based on their size, what will be the size, based on the date modified. So a number of criteria can be there. This is a specialty of clustering. In advance we don't know what will be the criteria. That criteria will be decided by you itself. Then image segmentation also you can use k-means clustering, and image compression also. So these are the various applications of k-means algorithm. Now next we are going to discuss about what are the benefits and drawbacks of this k-means clustering algorithm. So first of all we talk about the benefits. So we can say it is relatively efficient algorithm. It is easy and fast to understand. The process is very simple. Just find the mean, calculate the distance difference, whatever will be the minimum, try to map it, and then again calculate the mean, and you need to continue the process unless and until you got same value in the last two iteration. and it gives a best result when data set are testing. So dissimilarity will be there. Okay. Drawbacks. What are the drawbacks of k-means algorithm? It is applicable only when mean is defined. So mean is very important, because initially we have taken random value, but after that we need to calculate the mean value in order to decide the center of the cluster. And in this case we need to specify the number of cluster, how many cluster I want, I need to specify in a k-means algorithm. That is what we can say limitation, and it is unable to handle noisy data and the outlier. So this is what the drawback of a k-means algorithm. So I hope you understand the process of a k-means algorithm. I demonstrate with a simple example, and also we discuss about algorithm, its benefits, drawback, and where you can use k-means clustering. You can use k-means clustering in the process of customer segmentation also. Customer segmentation is nowadays emerging application of k-means clustering, that is to be used by various e-commerce industry to group their customer based on their similarity. That similarity can be based on their like, dislike, based on the product, age, and so on. So many criteria can be there. Thank you.